Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for Side B on this fine Thursday, October the 5th, 2017. It's Technical Alpha. We just got through talking about our top 10 favorite movies of all time. And now we're going to move on to the segment in which we talk about why Panic looks like he's licked a toad and is now staring awkwardly into the camera.
Freak him out, Adam. Get him ready.
Oh, no, wait, that's the one we want right there. There we go. Whoop. So yeah, we're gonna answer some questions from our patrons. Patreon.com/technicalalpha. Go there, join up, support the podcast, get some stuff for your support, and help us edge ever closer to more wacky, crazy things for the show. Like maybe you'd like to see us do D&D. I think that would go over well.
I think so.
I think that would do well. That's good YouTube content.
We're still over $4,000, so thank you guys for keeping the lights on. We appreciate
Absolutely.
it. We're still going strong, man. We haven't missed a week. We're we're crushing it. We're still going.
Just rocking it.
We're still going.
Doing well.
We'll make that 1 year hype.
Oh yeah. Easy. But yeah, so without further ado, let's rock right into it. I'm taking this first question right off the rip. Comes in from Corey, who is a $10, $70 lifetime. Bringing it in big. I believe that pegs him for $10 since the very beginning. Is how that would work out.
Damn.
So shout outs to Corey for that one. Says Steve, I read about this just before the podcast. I was reading about this. Steven Seagal. Talking about my new movie, Crouching Cops, Hidden Badges. It's way better than that other movie that crouches and hides. He was challenged by George Foreman, the grill master himself.
Wait, for real?
To a fight. Yes, this happened.
I thought this was a joke.
Foreman said, I'll box, you use whatever the fuck you want for 10 rounds in Vegas. What super fight would you guys like to see? That one.
I want to know why this is happening. Friggin' Seagal was showing up on like Russian TV looking like some weird ass. I don't even know what he looked like.
Dude, he's a Russian citizen now.
Yeah, he looked like some weird supervillain or something.
Yeah,
because he is a weird supervillain.
Like
he's like talking shit. He was talking shit too. Yeah.
I paid $100 to watch, you know, McGregor Mayweather. I'd pay $200 to watch George Foreman fight Steven Seagal.
You want to know what super fight? I already know this. I don't even need to think about this. I'm ready for this. I talked about this before. Donald Trump versus Kim Jong-un. PUBG Battle Royale.
Oh.
1-on-1. Drop them on an island.
I didn't know. I want to see them fight each other with dildo bats.
That would work too. Just have dildo bats on the island. You're all
like
set.
It's a WWE Hell in the Cell match between Donald Trump and Kim Jong-un with purple Saints Row dildo bats.
You know you want to see that shit.
Yeah,
fight to the death.
I'd pay for that.
Yeah.
I would pay a large amount of money for that.
Yeah.
All right, I'm done with that one. Guys, go.
Oh, what super fight would I like to see in Vegas? Oh, man. Dude, I don't know. Like, that puts me on the spot. I mean, you guys already grabbed Trump. Can't take him. I mean, I'm kind of with this George Foreman for
Dude,
Seagal.
how fucking fire would that be?
I mean, they're both heavyweights. They're
but I feel like George Foreman knows how to throw a punch. Steven Seagal knows how to bend your wrist and flip you over dramatically.
No, he doesn't.
No, dude.
Not anymore.
He is fucking washed the fuck. That guy is
he's
ridiculous.
Have you seen his Russian supervillain interviews?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, he's nuts.
He probably could only bench press a sandwich.
George Foreman would punch him once, and Steven would go to sleep.
Oh, yeah. Oh, it would be majestic. It'd be absolutely amazing.
I don't think majestic's the word for it. It would be satisfying.
I still wouldn't fight Steven Seagal because the matter of fact, he's old, he's out of shape, but at one point in his life he knew Aikido, which is more martial arts than I know, and he would probably still kick my ass. Yeah. He's not a small dude. Fucking Steven Seagal is a big boy. He's a big boy. And you gotta remember, he's fucking crazy. So, he's not all there.
What's your super fight, Adam? Well, Jeff, thanks.
That one.
Yeah.
that is exactly the fight that I want to see.
I'm probably going with the same thing, too.
That is I could not come up with a more, magical combination of random fucking people that still makes sense in some weird way.
No Jean-Claude Van Damme and someone else?
No, okay, so my secondary would be Jean-Claude Van Damme and somebody, but I don't know who the second person would be. Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
How about Adam versus Jeff super fight?
That would be the shittiest fucking fight
you guys just start slapping
in
each other?
the world. Oh my god, it would be bad.
It's not even a super fight.
That's not even.
You can have that here at the fucking forum.
No, they'd have it at the multi-purpose center, the fucking
center, $5 a ticket.
Back where they have the friggin'
guys, if we get to $10,000,
flea market and
Adam
shit.
and Jeff super fight, we'll make it happen at the multi-purpose center.
Get it at the $15,000. I'll fight anybody. Fuck, I don't give a shit.
Pay-per-view.
I ain't scared.
Pay-per-view. But yeah, it'd be fun. Look, Jean-Claude Van Damme and some old retired kickboxer that was world champion at one point were supposed to have a fight, and that ran on for about 3 years, and they never made it happen. But I mean, yeah, Chuck Norris is might be too old now, but regardless, that would be mine. I think Jean-Claude Van Damme, Chuck Norris. Chuck actually knows how to fight.
So does JCVD.
Jean-Claude Van Damme does know how to fight. He did have competitive back when he was younger. He does, he's not unskilled, but at the same time.
All right, I'll go Jet Li versus Jackie Chan.
Ooh.
Oh. No, Donnie Yen.
Ooh.
And Jackie Chan.
I just think Jet Li is he's got so much more swag.
Jet Li I think Jet Li is the better technical fighter, but Jackie Chan's is more flexible.
I think Donnie Yen beats literally everyone that's in a martial arts movie.
Yeah, probably. But I'm going with Jackie Chan and Jet Li. They got to fight it out.
Somebody, I remember it was in a Mandarin interview, and somebody asked Donnie if he could beat Bruce Lee in a fight, and Donnie still said that there's no way he would beat, because people are always asking if Bruce Lee could actually fight or if he was just whatever, and no matter how many people that spent time with Bruce Lee come out and say the guy was on a whole different fucking planet than everyone else, everyone just doesn't want to believe it. And then Donnie was like, "No, bro." And the guys on the interview were like, "Oh, come on, you're just saying that because it's Bruce Lee." And Donnie was like, "No, but the guy was crazy." And it's just, if I get, that would be a great super fight. Just get Bruce Lee versus some shit. I want to put him in there with somebody. That'd be fucking awesome. We already had that crazy super fight in one of his movies between, what was it, Hakeem Olajuwon and fucking Bruce Lee? Who was the basketball player that was in there? Was it Olajuwon? I can't remember.
I don't know.
Oh, Bruce was in his yellow suit and everything. Shit, what was that? Fuck. Can't remember. Anyway, yeah, there you go.
All right, what's up next?
I'm going to go with this question. I'm going to get the right mouse so I can actually see his contribution level.
Oh, it was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. That's who it was.
I'm going with this question. Oh, wrong click. The question is from Prism. He is one of our $10 patrons who has contributed a lifetime total of $40. So thank you for the support. That's the 4 song.
4 months.
Yeah. What conspiracy theory do you believe is most likely to be true and or are most interested of finding the truth about?
What conspiracy theory do you believe is most likely to be true and or most interesting finding the truth about? Mine would be for sure if the moon landing happened or not. The evidence supporting that it did not happen is pretty big. There's a lot of weird shit that happened. So, and just the time and the race to the moon, and how the war was going on and everything. I think that would be the one that I would love to know. Like, because I'm thinking big conspiracy. I think the moon landing is a big conspiracy theory.
Before we jump into like the other stuff further, do you think we have the capability today to go to the moon?
Yes, I think we have the capability today.
I actually don't think we do today. I think personally, like I think we went back then. I just don't think we have the knowledge now because NASA's come out and said we have lost specs for a lot of the rockets and stuff we've used back then. So like for me personally, I kind of like I think we went in the 60s, but I don't think we could go right now.
Losing specs to the rockets that got to the moon kind of further makes you question whether or not you actually got to the moon in the first place.
Yeah.
Like, how is NASA going to come out and say, all right, you know what, guys? Oops. Somebody filed it in some other shit, and now it's lost in file heaven.
At the same time, like I've worked at defense contractors and shit, and I've seen how incompetent they can be at filing things. Or if you store
it's the rockets that made it to the moon
landing. Jesus,
or you store Mylar incorrectly and shit gets fucked. Like,
Jesus
but yeah, no,
Christ,
I was
the moon
curious.
landing of all things. It's like one of the most iconic things ever in the history of mankind. Literally, I think it actually is the biggest thing, the most iconic thing that man has ever done. Apparently, so. You know, I for the longest time I always thought that there was the moon landing, and then when I was reading up on it, and I've watched tons and tons of documentaries and just some of the weird angles and shit, and just some of the fuckery, and just to think about back then to go all the way to the moon and come back and had never done it again, never attempted to do it again. It's far-fetched. It just doesn't seem.
No, they did Apollo missions to the moon.
Oh well, I don't know.
Yeah,
not recently.
Multiple.
Not any.
Multiple, we did a bunch of missions to the moon after that. Like,
okay,
we put people down. Yeah.
Either way, it hasn't happened since God knows how long.
60s or 70s. Yeah.
So it's and you're right. They did do multiple things. But a guy was it not? Lance Armstrong, Neil Armstrong. Neil Armstrong, he only went once, right?
Yeah.
He only went the one.
Guys who
it wasn't the same. It was different people every time.
Astronauts.
So why wouldn't they have the same people go every time if they've done it? If it was a proof of concept, it's like, okay, listen, we know what to expect. We've been there. We've done it. Why don't we just do it again? Why won't we go again? It just doesn't make sense.
It's the whole astronaut corps thing. They keep them going around. Also, they don't want to send the same astronauts up because to go to the moon, you have to pass through a radiation belt, and it's not a pleasant radiation belt. So, like, they don't want to like subject the same astronaut over and over. That's why they have like limitations for how long people should be staying in space and stuff.
I think
What
that
they
we
think-
could
what they
totally get to the moon right now. I mean, it would be strange.
Immediately.
It would be strange to me that we can build a fucking space station, but that we can dock parts to while it's fucking traveling around the Earth and doing some crazy shit
What they
with
should
some of the
do-
most expensive machinery humans have ever put together. But if we couldn't land on the moon, that seems a bit.
Well, Pence kind of came out and said, "Oh, we're going back to the moon." What I want them to do then, let's go to the moon. Let's show everyone the actual old site. Let's go there. Show the shit there.
Why not? I mean, the problem, of course, is that now video tampering is so easy and so believable that people are always going to be skeptical until their own ass is on the fucking moon, right? It's the same reason the flat earthers exist.
We should send BOB up into space.
But yeah, I think for me, in all honesty, kind of related to that to a degree, is world governments hiding whether or not we've actually come in contact with extraterrestrial anything at any point in our history. And maybe it's because I'm not a fucking genius, but the ramp in which humanity progressed doesn't make fucking sense to me at all. Because when you look at how humanity progressed technology-wise, we hit a point where it wasn't even exponential. The line went goddamn vertical. Like we hit a point. There was a nice graph, and we're going along, and then fucking just like a bat out of hell, fucking straight up, and it just doesn't make sense to me as to how that could have happened without some sort of external. Reverse engineering type shit. It just doesn't, like, I don't want to be the internet, aliens guy, but at the same time, I'm just curious as to, one, because of technological advancement and how fast it happened and when it did in human history, but also just, you have to imagine that it just doesn't make sense that there's so much secrecy about very specific things in relation to space-related crap that always seems to be in such tight-lipped whatever. So yeah, that's always been a thing. And there is, like any conspiracy, that's what makes conspiracy theories kind of fun, is that even when evidence is crazy circumstantial fuckery, like we'll just it coincidental almost, like it's just kind of like whoop-de-doo, you're drawing parallels here that are just kind of crazy. Despite the fact that they might seem crazy, it makes it fun because you can still kind of, like, internally you can go, I could connect those dots. It's a little fucking far away, but if I try hard enough, I can totally put those two things together.
I can make that happen in my head. I
can make that happen. And there's things that are really interesting to me, like also in the grand scheme of human history, where it's a bit of a fallacy to assume that people of today are across the board in every way, shape, and form more intelligent than people that came before us.
I don't believe that. Look at the pyramids. And look at the shit that they made back then. It's just insane.
Like the masonry work in certain areas
we have more
just doesn't make
in
sense.
Our head, but we're not smarter. Like, we're not wiser.
Yeah.
Like, we may have a lot of knowledge, but we are not as smart as some of the people back then to come up with those approaches. Like, we lack the ability to generate, like, we have a smaller number of people generating a larger amount of knowledge because of productivity, but I feel like as a mass of people, we are actually stupider. We don't lack the ability to generate. It's just we have a couple of people who are able to just generate mass amounts more.
Yeah, like it's just the. But yeah, for me, it's like I understand that you can totally trace back how we got to where we are technology-wise, but it doesn't, in my mind, fucking. I can't bridge some stuff, specifically when it comes to computer technology, like the advancements in microprocessing and stuff. The shit. It just doesn't fucking make sense to me how in the in one generation
an alien came down and they're like, let's grab this ship, and then they had
actually
processors in there.
I have a segue,
like reverse engineering.
I have a segue for Adam's one that might be related, but can I have two conspiracies?
You can have one.
talk
one
about it
is,
anyway.
well, okay, so the one related to atoms is the whole Elon Musk simulation thing, where he says the universe is actually like, a projection simulation thing based on, future technology or whatever. I feel like that might be a thing because there's no way to tell that we're not in a simulation right now. I'd love to know if that's true or not.
That's a little out there.
If you actually sit down and if you actually sit down and listen to Elon Musk, he has like a big talk about simulations and stuff. It's actually pretty fascinating stuff. It's not like we're in a computer simulation type of thing. He's talking more on like a massive, like universal level. And you look at based on the physics of some of it, there's indications that we're just like a projection stuff. But I was reading it and I'm like, that's pretty freaking mind blowing. But I feel like I
think if a fucking normal dude came up with that, you wouldn't think twice. But since it comes from the genius mind of Elon Musk, then maybe you.
Well, no, it's not just Elon Musk. It's not even Elon Musk. Just there's other papers and other theories and a lot of scientists from the physics.
We're in the Matrix, boys. We're in the Matrix.
Yeah. But for Adam's thing, that kind of does explain the we don't we only have us as our current reference frame, and we have history as it's present in the environment. But in Adam's case, talking about how do you account for this in the progression, that might be a type of thing. I don't know. I think that might be a kind of explanation, other than alien
I don't know what you mean by
engineering.
this. Just making computers that's
technology kind of progresses like this over time, but then in the past 50 years, 100 years.
Yeah, but it's gonna do that again. So in the next 50 to 100 years, we're gonna go from here to
it's gonna look like this again, but it's actually gonna be that again.
It's gonna go. It's all in perspective. We've seen a big change in our generation, but there was big changes back then too, going from being a caveman to driving cars or having electricity instead of a fire. I mean, that is that. It's kind of all in perspective, but I see what you're saying. Do I think that we've come into aliens? I don't think so. I don't think so. When you think about how big the universe is and the multiverses and actually how young of a planet we really are in terms of how long everything has been out there, the odds of us meeting another species or of any sort, whether it's through satellite or a physical landing, it is so astronomically small that it just doesn't make sense. And the fact that the government of all people would have so happened to have found that before anyone else and then hid it and kept it in secret of whatever it was, there's no fucking way. I just can't believe that in the slightest. The planet that we're just too far. We're too far away from everything. The travel is, and we might actually be the most intelligent species in the known multiverses. We might be the most intelligent. There may be way more intelligent. They may know we exist, but we have no idea they exist. I think no. I don't think we'll ever come in contact.
The way that I think about it is this: the further along that we go and we advance, and the more that we understand about the universe, which is almost nothing, right? When you think about it, is we don't really know all that much about it. To be completely fair, we don't even know that much about our own planet. The fact that now mathematically we can account for things like with enough energy or enough power, being able to basically fold and cross vast majority of space in an almost instantaneous period of time, given enough power. And then given the vastness of the universe, of which we can't see all of, we can only see our observable universes. We don't even know, because we don't know how fucking big the universe is. We don't even know what percentage of the fucking observable universe is representative of the rest of the universe. Imagining that we are the most fucking advanced life forms in all that is the universe, then this universe fucking sucks dick.
We drew the short straw, bitches.
The universe drew 7 or 8 short straws back to back. If we are the most advanced.
Well, we have the best straw that we have drawn ever. Where do I believe there's other life? Of course. Would I like to believe there's more intelligent life? Yes, I would like to believe that. But when you think about it, we are very intelligent. We are free speaking. We can interact with each other. We've created what we've created here, and there might be other planets, I'm sure, that have life, but it just is. It's just life, and there's no interaction. There's no anything. It's just exists. And we are asking questions and searching and looking out and trying to find, which is cool.
Which is fun, yeah. So Cynic in chat I have to address this. First said the universe is infinite. We don't know that. We just say that because we can't measure it.
We're assuming it is because we can't comprehend.
We're assuming it's
size.
infinite. And then to follow that up and say some planet has to be the most advanced is an impossibility if you're also saying that the universe is infinite. At that point it's impossible because there are
infinite possibilities.
Exactly, the infinite possibilities. So that's what really intrigues me about space.
If there is anybody in the world,
see so much of it.
In the world of Earth, the fucking measly humans that we are.
The world of Earth Gaia.
Yeah. If there is anybody in Twitch chat.
Earth Gaia?
That was the joke. Because he said world and
in
Earth.
the Twitch chat, in the fucking, in NASA, anywhere that thinks they understand how all this works, they're fucking full of ass and shit and whatever. I don't give a shit. It is so huge and so unexplainable. We
don't do well with large numbers.
I mean, things can be explained. We understand certain things can be. We know how they work, and we've been smart enough to figure certain things out. But in the grand scheme of things, if there's any fucking human that tries to tell you that they understand how it all works, they're fucking liars because they can't even comprehend. No. They can't even. You can't even imagine. You can't even make it up. No, you can't even. You just can't even.
I'm a firm believer that given what we could take a stab at, the size of the universe is, and the number of planets that exist within that universe that we could just take a stab at in terms of, and then given mathematically the probability of life happening, we were just tossing shit out there. I'm a firm believer that one of those civilizations are at the point where they're spacefaring and they're not traveling small portions of space at a time. They have solved the power issue, and they're probably harnessing powers of stars at that point and just fucking traveling distances that we couldn't even fathom, like we joke about casually in Star Trek universe, but we don't have figured out yet. So I couldn't in good conscience look at all that there is that we can just see, again, only what we can fucking see, and say to myself, no civilization out there is traveling space
you have to think
at
about
speeds capable of reaching any other planet that they would want to reach.
I had this other part of that theory, though. I feel like if the universe is so infinitely large and so mind-bogglingly large, I guarantee you there's probably civilizations doing spacefaring stuff out there, and they've just gotten bored of landing on planets and interacting with people. They've surpassed it. They're like, we don't fucking care. We've seen infinite numbers of these things. We're not going to see anything new.
It's so huge that even if they looked for an eternity, they would never find us, because
some would never find. I'm sure others have found and gotten bored. I'm sure there's many permutations of civilizations that we're just not going to be found.
We watch too many movies. Like, it's just like, what do you think? Fucking aliens are just going to show up here because they have better advancements. They have cooler looking ships that can go at the speed of fucking light, faster than the speed of light. They're fucking traveling through the galaxies, and they just show up here and they're like, what? Earth looks like a place that I could suck power from. You're all gonna die, and then we're gonna move to the next universe.
I feel like they'd suck the power out of Earth in like a split second to be like, oh crap.
But that's what's fun about
not gonna happen.
about technological advancement is that if you took somebody out of our timeline from 500 years ago and planted them in fucking downtown fucking Tokyo or Seoul, South Korea, they'd literally die of an aneurysm. They would not be able to fucking take it in as to what just happened. They would think they had been like they were with gods because they can't understand it and it becomes magic. It's not that happens right now. What we're talking about right now, in 500 years, if we haven't fucking glassed ourselves at that point, if you pulled any one of us three and planted us 500 years in the future, and again, accounting for not being glassed, we'd probably also instantly fucking keel over and be like, the fuck, and curl up in a fetal position and rock ourselves back and forth because we wouldn't be able to
I'm not sure. I'm not sure because
I
now
think we might be able to handle it a little
because
bit
now
better.
we would because now we see how far we've come, and although it would be unbelievable to see,
We'd probably
that
be able
we
to
would
comprehend
go-
it though.
we'd probably
be
go,
like-
you know what? Back in the day, I thought for sure someone was going to think of a floating car that's going to fly around and do all this shit. I knew we were eventually going to be able to do instant transmission. I fucking love that shit in Dragon Ball Z. Like, sure, it would blow your mind, but I think we would be able to comprehend
saw
it
that on
because of
TV.
technology. Yeah, I think, oh man, Star Trek used to do that shit. Yeah.
We'd be able to like handle it a little bit more.
But back then, 500 years ago, there was nothing to even base it on. Then it would be like, oh my God, what the fuck is this?
Until you go into the bathroom and you see the three shells and you're like, what the shit is this bullshit?
I mean, I don't know. There's definitely technology shit that we don't even currently think of because we've so many people have already ruled it impossible that
We've done it other ways too. Like we've come up with technologies that we've seen in Star Trek that someone came up with. Oh yeah, we might be able to do this, and we've made it happen. Like the phone is like the cell phone and the flip phones.
Yeah, exactly.
It's all like from Star Trek communicators and stuff. So like, yeah, there's stuff that we can't even conceive of now, but there's a ton of interesting stuff that we have theorized for sci-fi that will probably happen.
I don't know. People were like, we're not medieval. Like, okay, well, if you want to say that, people in medieval periods, if you went back again,
Well, they wouldn't
the
be able to
same way,
understand us talking.
everyone
at all.
here's the deal. It's cool if you want to sit around and think that in 500 years you'd be able to just, take in casually all the shit that goes on. But nobody in any point in humans' history could you pull somebody that far into the goddamn future and not be completely fucking
That's
baffled
because the human
at what's happened.
because we haven't been around that long. So, to say that, if you were to say 10,000 years from now, then I'd be like, okay, okay, I can't even recognize Earth. But 500 years, that's like 5 kids. Like it's going through 5 generations. It's like how different can
And
it
back
really
in the medieval
be?
times, it would have been like 10 or 20 generations. So, the scale of
I-
time frames of...
Yeah,
We went from horses to where we are now in 100 years.
yeah.
Okay?
But nobody went crazy.
Horses.
No, but like my grandparents,
Because they lived through it.
Exactly.
But if you don't live through it and you are just instantly ported through 500 years
now-
worth of shit.
But here's
But
the
we've
difference,
seen
though.
it all,
Back then,
We haven't
they
seen
didn't.
it all.
They were working. They were doing their stuff. Here we have so much leisure time and stuff. We've come up with shit like Star Wars, Star Trek, Minority Report, all of these different things. We have much more open minds, and we've thought and conceived of a lot more unique and random things that. And I think this is what Jeff is getting at. It's like, if you drop us 500 years in the future, yeah, we'd be like, what the shit?
That's
and we'd be
fucking
really
cool. Like,
surprised.
whoa.
But we would be able to, with some time, not like curling in the field, but we'd be able to understand and we'd be able to process it. It might take us a little bit, but it's not going to be like a complete, oh my God, I'm with gods. It's like, oh, I somehow got thrown into the fucking future. What the shit is going on?
Yeah, it's
Be
almost
able
like
to
you're
process
saying.
it.
It's almost like you're saying, you have a bunch of Native Americans sitting in a fucking tribe somewhere in the middle of the woods that hasn't seen nothing except for the fucking bulls that they go in, or the bison that they go and fucking tribe hunt with each other, and
then
then
they see a
eat,
car.
fucking have it raw, and then they go, and then they see a fucking airplane. Yeah, they're gonna think that that's a fucking god, or so they're gonna be like, oh, holy fuck. They're gonna go, but you get someone like us that has seen just about every possible ridiculous thing, and even if we haven't, even if in 500 years there's something that you know, there's like a tube that you can just sit in, and it just heals you from every sickness. And there are people that don't die, like, you know, people just stay alive forever or whatever. I wouldn't be like, I wouldn't lose my shit. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, where? I'd go, oh shit got real. I'd be mind blown. I'd be like, yeah, this is crazy. Holy shit, hook me up to one of these things. Before it'd be like, you wouldn't even know. You'd think you'd be dead. You'd be like, where the fuck am I? So I don't think it could be that insane. Now, if you were to chuck me on it, like on another planet that had completely different like surroundings and you know, different gravity and different weather and different everything, and we didn't use oxygen to breathe, and I had to wear some, then yeah, I'd probably go into shock. But if I'm on Earth and all we got is cool technology that can transport me from here to the moon, or from here to Mars, and there's an entire colony of people living on Mars, I'm gonna go, wow, we fucking did it. We went to Mars. Let me go over to Mars and check this out. I mean, how much further can we go in 500 years? I don't know. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I don't think I'd go. I'd lose it, but I wouldn't be.
You wouldn't go fetal position.
No, I would. I'd be more excited than I would be scared. That's what I wouldn't be scared of anything. I would just be in awe that we did it because of what we're
still alive.
Yeah.
Well, there you go. All right, what's the next question?
All right, so let's go with
CIA killed Kennedy. We're on a watch list now, boys. Sorry.
Oh, you're on
you
a watch
all
list.
Wrong. It was
You're on a watch list.
The mob killed.
You guys think you're not on a watch list even if you're in Canada?
No, you're on the watch list. Oh my God. Let me see here. Okay, what is from Neil, who's a $10 supporter and is $60 lifetime? What is the biggest bullet you've ever dodged?
High school. There was a chick that was super into me for like half of a year before she finally caught the hint that I wasn't having it. And she was, you know, she was super attractive and everything, but I knew she was low key cray cray. She just hadn't reached her final form yet. Like she was building up. She was cell. Exactly. She was imperfect cell. She hadn't reached her full potential yet, but I knew it was coming. And so I shut that down, and lo and behold, like a year later, she was pregnant and off getting out of school and yeah, living that life. So bullet successfully dodged.
What about you, Panic? Bullet have
I don't feel like I've ever actually dodged a bullet. I feel like I've gotten hit by them all.
Ooh.
I don't know. Like I can't recall back a time where I'm like, you know what? Thank God. Nothing's coming to mind.
Well, for me, man, I don't know, man. That's a tough question. Like I could always think of like things with girls as well, because I've definitely dated some pretty batshit crazy bitches. Not really dated, but you know, slept around with or just chilled with, and like end up pregnant or fucking crazy, or had a boyfriend that was in jail and shit that was like, when he gets out, I'm fucking dead type shit. Like I've been through all those, but I don't want to give that generic thing. I'm trying to think of a big. You know what? I'm gonna go and say this. Probably the biggest bullet I've ever dodged was dropping out of university. That is probably the biggest bullet I ever dodged, because if I stayed in university for another 3 years, I would have accrued at least $20,000 in debt, guaranteed. Like that's like bare minimum. And with me, it probably would have been closer to 40 or 50. And because I wouldn't have worked, I'd have been like, I can't work. I got to study. I got to focus on my studies and then like not study. and then get a degree that I'll do nothing with. So I think being able to have not went to school, figure out what I wanted to do with my life, and kind of stumble in on it and then be able to focus on it, it all kind of worked out. So I think not going to school is the biggest bullet I dodged, because if I would have graduated, would I have went and taken a job somewhere? I don't know. I'd be doing this today. I don't know if I would have pushed Adam to be like, come on, man, let's fucking do this thing. Let's do this thing. Maybe we would have been talking about what fucking careers we would have been going into.
Adam would have been CEO of like the largest mega corporation based in Halifax had you not come along, Jeff.
Maybe.
In some other universe, Adam is some evil CEO.
Maybe. I don't know.
NovaCorp.
I think probably dropping out of school is probably the biggest bullet I ever dodged. I doubt I would be as successful as I am today. I doubt we would be having this conversation right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go with that.
Okay. All right. There you go. Bullets dodged. I had one here. Where did it go? Oh. What is the worst car you've ever test driven? From Nicholas.
Like, to buy?
Who is a $10 supporter. I guess. Either, yeah, let's say that. If you've ever test driven a car that was just particularly terrible.
Can we include rentals in that?
Sure.
I can go first if you don't have one.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Just to put this in perspective, we had a 1996 24th or 20th anniversary edition Honda Accord V4, 4 cylinders of fury. That thing did not have a lot of pickup. This is not the car that we are talking about here. I'm just going to leave that out there. That car had trouble going up hills. We were in California and we rented a Buick Regal, I think, or Buick Century or something. This thing had like a V8 with power and stuff. It was a weighty car. Got in behind the driver's seat of that bad boy, pulled onto the wide open California freeway and floored it. And that car did not move at all. I was just like, holy shit, I thought this thing had a V8. It's like, yeah, this thing's roaring and we are not moving.
Weighs 10,000 pounds.
So bad that my dad was even cracking up about it when we got back to the airport in New York and we went to pick up our little dinky 4 cylinders of fury. My dad was having trouble because he tapped the accelerator and the car would jerk forward. He's like, oh shit, I'm not used to this again. It took him maybe a couple tries before he got used to it.
Wow.
That's
we had to lead foot that car to get it to move.
Wow.
And then we got
That's
back, we're like, ooh.
terrible. Okay, so I'm going to give two things. One was the car that I had to drive to get my license, which was a 1996 Pontiac Sunfire, which is categorically rated the worst car basically ever made in the history of automobiles. And this one had seen a lot of mileage as it was a car for driving school, and the suspension was gone. The shocks were gone. The power steering was gone. There was nothing left to this fucking vehicle. The seats were ass to metal. You took a corner and you felt like you were going to flip the car and you were only driving 40 kilometers an hour because there was nothing left. The car would just do this and just float. You'd hit a bump and it'd be like, and you'd never stop moving. It was awful. And I felt like if I could just survive learning how to drive in that, I could drive literally fucking any car that you put me in. So that was one. The cars that I test drove before I picked up like my RAV that I have now, the worst out of all of them would have been surprisingly the Honda CR-V. Whoever decided to set up the power steering in that vehicle the way that they do should be fired and hung from a fucking tree, because it feels like you're steering your steering wheel into or against the tension of a rubber band no matter what direction you put it. It feels like if you were twisting like a stick that's gone through a rubber band and you just keep spinning it. That is how driving a brand new CRV feels like, and it is one of the most disconcerting, like just uncomfortable. You don't feel like you're in control of the car. I couldn't, like, I felt like I felt like the steering was just going to break at any given moment. And there was such huge understeer. It was the most awkward drive I've ever had. And then the one other thing that made it worse was that well, you'll know why. The dashboard with the instruments and stuff, it was set up in such a way with where the windshield ended that the sun for the majority of the day would hit something and reflect directly, and I mean blindingly, into your eyeballs as you were driving the car.
Your eyeballs will be like a lot higher than the average person.
Like it was like 3 or 4 different things on the thing were getting hit up. Like it didn't matter where. My dad was with me. He was in the passenger seat. He had his sunglasses on.
But you're
Shit
both
was just
freakishly
blinding
tall.
him. Dad's like 6'1". He's
That's
not
still
that
pretty
tall.
friggin' tall.
Yeah, but it's not so tall that he's like fucking head through the friggin' roof. So
I'm
like
still
it
amazed
just
you fit in your car.
So I was getting blinded. Dad was getting blinded. I felt like I was driving a car that's being steered by a rubber band. Terrible fucking vehicle. Don't buy a CRV right now. Don't do it.
I haven't, like, I've driven a lot. Like I've owned some pretty shit cars, but that's not the question. So
Ford Escort.
yeah, like I've owned some pretty fucking shit mobiles. All right. But probably the worst that I've test driven was the Kia Cube. You know,
That's the box one?
Yeah, the Cube.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Why would you even test that?
Kia Soul?
Oh, Kia Soul, that's what it was. The Soul.
Kia Soul.
But it
The
looks
Cube,
like a cube.
the Cube is a Nissan Cube.
Oh, okay, yeah.
The
so
Nissan
the Kia,
Juke.
Kia Soul.
Nissan Cube and the Juke are totally different vehicles. And then the Kia Soul and they're all basically cubes.
Yeah. So
and
the Soul.
then there's the Ford Flex, which is a rectangle.
I took the Soul out, and this is when I was looking for a car for Kayla, and we took the Soul out, and it was just like the steering felt weird, kind of like what you were saying, Adam. Like it didn't feel how you were saying, but it almost felt like I was driving a bus, and it didn't feel right. It's hard to explain it when you're turning the wheel and it isn't like as responsive, and it's not either tight or it's too loose or whatever.
Yeah.
It just
Uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It just didn't feel like it should be there. Like it was bizarre. And then the windshield was like super big, like a bus.
The visibility was good in it though.
Visibility's
like
amazing.
Looking around, I was like, you know what? I actually don't feel like I have any blind spots. Like I feel like I am aware of where I am.
Well, 3/4 of the car is like glass. So
yeah,
I mean,
everything
like,
else was uncomfortable.
Yeah, it didn't wow me in any way. And usually when you drive a new car out, usually it doesn't matter how shit the car is. It's like a good time. It's like, damn, we had a new car. It smells fresh. It drives smooth. It's got a little pep.
Yeah,
like this didn't have any of it. It was slow. True. It was clunky. It was big. It was awkward. It looked weird. It was expensive. It was just probably the worst car I ever test drove. Was it the worst car I ever drove? Hell no. But it was definitely the worst car I've taken out from a lot.
Here's a follow-up for this, is when you've test-driven cars, or if you've driven cars, but let's go with test-driven cars, like if you were going to go buy one or pick one up or rent one or whatever, what's the weirdest thing about a car that's like kind of insignificant, but you couldn't live with the car because of that, like that one thing? Like it was just too, like it would just piss you off, or it was missing something that was like, that's not necessarily like, oh, it doesn't have enough power or anything like that, but something really weird.
You know the back seat where the axle for the powertrain goes?
I do know the back seat, yes.
No, the back seat where the powertrain goes, where that hump is, where they have to drive the drivetrain back. If that's too high, no go.
Okay.
No go.
Okay.
That's too high.
That's fair. I can see that. That's kind of annoying.
for me, it would definitely be a car that does not have an armrest in the middle.
Oh, you and me both on the same
I
team.
cannot fucking drive a car.
There are cars that don't have that.
Oh, fuck yeah, dude.
Yeah.
There are.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There are definitely
every car
cars.
I've driven's got like the middle console thing, so you can put shit in.
No,
and then you got your.
There's legit cars that don't have the consoles, and it's the worst fucking thing ever. Every time you go to put your elbow down, you're like you fucking sink. Like there's nothing there, or there'll be like weird. Fuck, what did I drive in? It was what was it? I think it was a Porsche. I think I was in a Porsche, or I was sitting in one down at Cars
like
and Coffee.
Cayman?
Say what?
Like a Cayman or something? Like what?
I don't know. I don't know. It was a smaller car, and it was a luxury car. It was older, smaller luxury car. I think it was a Porsche, and it didn't have the console. The first thing I noticed when I sat in the fucking seat and I put my elbow down, I was like, "What the fuck?" And it was like
mine doesn't have like an armrest or something, but at least has that little cabinet thing that comes out just enough that when you put your arm down, it's just like 3 inches of your elbow. You just something to rest.
No, you can't even give me 3 inches.
You
know what I mean.
Different proportions.
Like no, it's not even that. No. You need a full, robust armrest. None of this
where
fuckery.
You can get your hand like fully on it.
I
the
almost
too high then.
No. I almost went with the CX-5, the Mazda CX-5 over the RAV. It was close.
That's a good
car.
It was
really both of them fantastic vehicles. The armrest, for virtually no reason, because there's nothing else underneath of it. It is unused space. The armrest is this little dinky dildo-shaped motherfucking thing that turns into a nutsack at the backside that not even... I have the smallest fucking forearms in the world, and mine still could not comfortably rest on this friggin' armrest. And on top of that, because it was like this weird like dick-shaped fuckery, it didn't even have a compartment to put anything in, but there was still a foot of just dead air below this friggin' armrest. And I'm thinking to myself, who designed this?
Yeah.
Well,
who in the engineering department was like, you know what? Let's just waste everyone's time and put this little dinky fuckery here and then have it not be good for either an armrest or as a storage unit. Like absolutely nothing there. And just almost on that alone, that and the fact that the car salesman tried to convince me that just bullshitting me. Tried to convince me that the CX-5 had better gas mileage than the hybrid RAV4.
The same or less?
The hybrid RAV4 versus a non-hybrid CX-5. And he literally tried to tell me that he had reports from his customers that the CX-5 was getting over 700 kilometers to a tank. And I said, "Good day, sir. You get nothing.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye."
Yeah.
Fucking like, do you think I'm retarded? Like, at
yes,
what point
actually,
in our
Yes.
At some point in the conversation,
car salesman,
at some point in the conversation,
think you're retarded.
They want
after
you to get
everything, the way that I'm talking about all the cars in this category, everything I'm telling them, I know the car better than he does, and he still tried to fucking tell me that it was getting over 700 kilometers. And I called him on his bullshit on the phone. And he was like, "You know what? Don't shoot the messenger. I'm just telling you what people are telling me." I'm like, "Well, the people telling you that are lying." They're
Rip
flat
your
out
commission,
lying
bud.
to you.
Rip your commission.
Goodbye.
Yep.
No, thank you.
Rip.
So yeah, there you go. That was mine. That little, it was the worst. And anybody who's seen it, I don't know if they've changed it for the new model year, but go and look at like a 2015, 16. I think it was a 2016 CX-5, and you are going to see this little dick-shaped fuckery in the middle of the freaking front seats that it's useless. It's completely useless. And that by itself, along with the used car salesman bullshit, I was like, no, goodbye. I'm out of here. So that was my thing. What's our next question? What do we got?
Well, I just did the last one. I think, or no, did I? I don't know.
No, that was me.
While we figure out the next question, I got a news update here. They evacuated a Baltimore high school today for a hazmat situation, which was later confirmed by the Baltimore City Fire Department to be a pumpkin spice air freshener.
There you
Oh
go.
dear
Pumpkin
God,
spice is just taken over.
We've come full circle now, boys.
Pumpkin spice is taken over.
Only the men left that building. All the women stayed in it.
All right, Panic, give us our last question of the night. Let's go.
Let's make it a goodie.
This is from McBarge. You are given blanket immunity for 24 hours to cause as much destruction as you want. You are given access to the machines, the material, and the expertise to ensure 100% success in your destruction. No one is harmed in your mayhem, and everything will be replaced and improved upon after you are done. Where and what would you do in the above scenario?
That's a weird question because you're getting the chance to destroy everything, but then you're saying that it's built back better than it was before at the end of it. So it's kind of counterintuitive.
I was originally going to destroy all of Trump's shit, but then realized it's going to come back better, so I'm like, that's out.
I'm glad you said that because every time I bring that up, everyone's like, why you gotta always make it so political, Adam? Why are you after Trump all the time?
Yeah,
He's such a...
he's not
that bad of a guy. He's not that bad of a guy.
Week.
He's making America great again. Leave him alone, Adam. Fuck.
I know.
We're giving you a week off, Adam.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, that's difficult. I don't even know what I do. Let's go with, if I'm given with all the power and the materials to make happen the way that I want it to happen, right? That's what it says.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I evacuate the citizens of North Korea, and then I nuke the everlasting fuck out of that entire thing and end the dictatorship line, and all of those who followed him.
No one is harmed.
Fuck. Fuck.
Adam's ready to just wipe people out.
I was gonna say that too, but no one is harmed.
Yo, I'm gonna go ahead.
Because I only wanted to harm very specific people. Okay. Then let's. Shit, dude. What the fuck do you do? Why would you destroy shit? Just like this is the.
I thought about this. I would either destroy New York or LA, because if no one's gonna get hurt and they get built back better, there's so much shit here that hard to rebuild over. Just destroy it all so they can do it better. Update that shit.
All right, here we go. All right. You know what? I got you guys. Flint, Michigan. I'm just fucking your shit up, and we're rebuilding it all. Everyone gets.
Good.
I'm being Oprah. Everyone gets clean water. Let's go.
I'm gonna go ahead and bust down my house and rebuild it better and stronger.
Are you fucking serious?
Yeah.
You should bust down Adam's house at the same time.
That is the dumbest cop-out I've ever heard. Holy shit. Your house is perfectly fine. That's just absolute lunacy.
Adam, I know what you want to destroy. I know what you want to do.
What's
Here,
that?
right now. The old folks home outside your house.
Oh,
I got an even better one, all right? Not so cop-out.
Okay.
My wife's vagina.
Oh.
It's gonna come back better.
Better than ever. I think that's called having children and then reconstructive surgery.
Fucking destroy it and bring it back. Gimme.
That's terrible. Well, there you go. All right, on that note, on that bomb, that is side B for this week, ladies and gentlemen. Hopefully you enjoyed that gong show. We will be back next week for another Technical Alpha. Look forward to seeing you there. If you haven't seen the live show, please do us a favor and show up if you've got the times. Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Ignore everywhere that says Friday. And excuse me.
I know.
Yeah, we'd love to get you out here and have some fun. A big shout out to everyone on Patreon who's continued to support us and who has supported us in the past. We really do appreciate it, and we continue to appreciate anyone that's new and coming through. Spread the word about the podcast. Let everyone know that you think might enjoy this. Don't just keep it to yourself. Don't let it be your own
D&D.
Your own best kept secret. Exactly.
Throw your
Spread the
fucking
word.
money. You know what? Our community's poor right now because they donated about over $11,000 to World Vision. So we thank you
Exactly.
so
That was
much,
huge.
guys, for that love. And we're going to be doing
Smashed it.
another live stream later on this month.
Smashed it.
Yep.
But yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Really do appreciate it. Before we head out, as always, I think we might have lost one of these people, but they're getting a shout out anyway. Patreon producers, Jetrix and Mr. Miyagi, hanging out in the big boy leagues at $500 a piece.
God damn.
Postal Panda, who has been sitting at the 250 now for some time. Shout outs to Postal Panda.
Legend.
Jamaican Jazz, Adam Barlow, Toad of Steel, Naily, Derek P, Frizy, and Ice Wolfie. Most of those gentlemen have been at the $100 spot for a
long time,
lengthy period of time.
They're lifers.
Absolutely. And thank God they are. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again. We will see you guys next week. Same bad time, same bad channel. And until we do see you, peace. Hey guys, if you're enjoying Technical Alpha and are interested in supporting us, do I have a solution for you? We've set up this Patreon page to help us help you, help us and you. We've got a list of options that would make a used car salesman cry that provide you with a range of goodies for your support. Head on over to patreon.com/technicalalpha to see what's up for grabs. Like fancy badges and stuff? Subscribe to us on Twitch to get access to, well, badges and stuff. Not big on subscriptions. We have a button below that allows you to directly throw money at our faces. Careful you don't take those eyes out though. We are so very fond of our eyes. Honestly though, while we like to joke about the sellout, just being a regular listener is a huge help, and we're incredibly thankful for all of your support. Technical Alpha will continue soon, so sit tight.